Hello, my name is Erica, and welcome to this week's Battle Report on Tried and True. Shout out to the Delaware Warmachine AU meta for the incredible 3D terrain featured in today's episode. The effects look great, thanks guys. If you enjoy our content, please consider subscribing to the channel and keep up to date on our Bat Rep and podcast releases. If you'd like to support the channel directly, a link to our Patreon can be found in the video description below. Our match today was recorded using the 2021-2022 Steamroller Rules Scenario 5 Split Decision. Introducing for the first time on Tried and True is returning Mark III player Rick. Welcome to the channel. Please discuss your list and army composition going into the game.
Alright, hi guys. I am Rick. Today I am bringing in Caine's Hellslingers, or Caine 3. Really enjoying the ranged attributes of the list. So obviously I have Caine 3 with a Skarre for that extra mage sight range and focus. The trusty old character Jack Ace helping out with that true sight, bouncing shots. 2 Cyclones today. I really enjoy having that extra volume of fire, especially for the feet in those 2d3 shots per round for the Cyclones. I also have with me 4 Minutemen. I found that having the ability to threaten much more of the board kind of non-linearly with the different slug guns and jumping all over the place, extended control range is super helpful. 2 Hunters today to help with a little bit of armor as a just in case. The extended range of the guns is super helpful. 2 Gun Mage Captain Adepts, super helpful with flare, brutal shots, making sure that everyone can see everything we need to see. 2 Arcane Tempest Riflemen, really helpful for flag control, getting out those last level points of different jacks. Super well-rounded solo. Arlon Strangeways, super helpful in getting magical guns around and a couple extra points of focus. And then I'm leaving off with Lieutenant Falk to allow for that rune shot, a couple sprays to really help round out the list.
Here comes a new challenger. Welcoming for the first time on Tried and True is Alec, along with his 75-point army of Cryx. Can you please share with us your thoughts and model choices going into the game?
Hello, so I'm taking Pirate Queen Skarre, or Skarre 1. She brings a very large damage and durability buff with her feet, and she allows my models to hit very accurately under her spell Dark Guidance. She is bringing with her specifically 4 Stalkers. They are very quick, they jump, and they're great targets for her feet. She's also bringing Dr. Stygius. He casts Rip Sacrifice for her, allowing her to get a bit of extra focus to share some of that with her jacks on feet turn. Also bringing Aeacos 1 as a journeyman warcaster with a Stalker and his character jack, Carabitus. Stalkers, for the same reason they're on Skarre, non-linear threat ranges are great, and Carabitus is a really popular and powerful character heavy that Cryx has access to. And also, Journeyman Warcaster Asphyxious the Sanctified with his character jack Cankerworm, which can hit exceptionally hard on feet turn with Skarre, and another Stalker, because the Stalkers are great. In terms of solos, taking a Hermit of Hedgehold, just a very powerful option for holding flags and buffing damage if I need it, as well as Xayah Wraithblade, just another great requisition point option, and pairs very well with my unit of Stygius Raiders, which are a min unit of Stygius Raiders, which are hard to hit and apply some nice pressure on the board.
Can a dedicated gun line led by Caine and his Hellslingers repel an assault from the Pirate Queen and her forces? Let's get to the table and roll off.
Alright, so we're setting up, we have the forest out here, the graves, obstruction there in the center, have some nice tall grass down there at the bottom, water, walls. Today I took observatory for my objective.
And I took wreckage, and there's a lot of very nice cover on the board for me. I'm taking note of as I'm getting ready for my first turn. There's also some nice trees for just ease of my movement up the board.
Yeah.
We're shaking hands, and I think that is where I'm going to take my lead with that. So I get ready, I power up. I'm looking, I believe, at the 17-inch threat range on your beautiful little lights there.
I'm pretty sure this is where you were looking at all of the threat ranges and about how, like, if you moved out of your deployment, you were basically in gun range.
Yeah, so with that in mind, I quickly realized that I have to take extreme caution with moving too far up. And normally, I'd like to run my stalkers as far up the board as physically possible, and that was me seeing if I could fit Asphyxious and a stalker in that trench, but I could not. So Stalker will take it instead. And uh, so yeah, and I'm just moving my stalkers and my lights. Cankerworm's moving there, just to some nice cover behind that obstruction. Asphyxious is going to activate. He moves up, and I believe he is going to drop some clouds to try to make it a little harder for you to see too many of my lights here. Yeah, he's going to put him in the max range on those.
Yeah, there was that nice little hole right there between the wall and the obstruction to kind of create a nice little linear line there. Yeah, see it much better now with that tree out of the way.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'm just finalizing the turn of that unit and moving some servitors up. I leave a servitor back because I know that Dr. Stygius is going to want to cast Ritual Sacrifice on it and make sure it's in very easy range for him to get to. I don't have to worry about moving him too far. He's going to do it right now. And I believe I roll for that Ritual Sacrifice, and it is a 6. So Skarre is getting 6 focus on her next turn, which is great for fueling all my lights on her feet turn if the next turn would to be that.
Yeah, super fine. Super great.
Yeah, I'm super happy with that. Now I
Glad
think
you are.
And I think I'm realizing that 19 inches is also huge for your heavies, and just not thrilled about not being able to move crazy far up the board. So just moving some stalkers into some advantageous position, hoping you're going to run some stuff up that I can maybe bite at. 13-inch threat range on stalkers is very nice, and I have, I believe, the stalker that's about to move. No, stalker or the stalker under Aeakos threats 15 inches, which is very nice.
Yes.
Under escort. Escort's a great spell. I'm very glad Aeakos has it.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to think of what I want to do with Carapatus, with the Kraken heavy that we have access to, and I'm realizing that his role in this game is probably just going to be to, eat what he can. He can get really tanky under Skarre's feet. So he moves as far as possibly can and is going to drop a cloud on himself there. And he's, Prowl, so Prowl with Bond with Aeakos, so that cloud is really nice for keeping him at least more annoying to shoot at for Rick here. And now I'm realizing I have to activate this unit, and I know this unit wants to score this zone, but Stygius don't have an 8 Pathfinder, so and I really want to keep Whipping Winds up, which allows my Stygius to get +2 defense versus range attack, and sorry, it's not immunity to blast anymore. It is resistance to blast damage. But yep, so I believe now what happened there is Exaria just threw dodge up on my unit of Stygius, and then I activate all my models and I end my turn. So that's your...
Yep. So at this point, I start kind of figuring out what his ranges are, what my ranges are in comparison to certain things. I'm feeling that since I'll be going second in this round, I can probably stay back just a little bit. I believe I only take a couple pot shots during the turn, but we kind of start to look around. I really start to focus on Ace, seeing if we can get like a little pot shot, since he has True Sight, so he's able to take like a long range shot while still being in a safe position of the army without just getting taken off the board randomly. So I take quite a bit of time there, looking at that, kind of reviewing the whole scenario and trying to make my decision about the scenario going up into this, since scoring won't start until the next turn anyway. Definitely lots of jumping and bouncing for me, as you can all see. But basically this turn's going to end up being is that we're just going to start moving up everybody, kind of staying out of those threat ranges to be allowed to kind of start pouncing in the following turn. I believe moving here forward, we go ahead and start with the Hellslinger unit. Definitely start with Flicker, which is an amazing spell to start moving the whole battle group. And then again, as you can see, I'm starting to kind of go with that plan of just kind of keep myself away from his front line so that he just doesn't start jumping forward and eating lights for free. And but then all the other guys that are starting back in the standard deployment zone are moving forward to kind of get online with the 4 Minutemen that were advanced deployed. I believe from here we go ahead and remember that Caine and the Hellslingers are a unit that are in the battle group and can flicker. There it is. And then followed by making sure all the allocations are staying where the focus that's left over stays where it's supposed to be. I had a contemplation about popping out Mage Sight to kind of filter where I want his guys to be, but I feel like it's not close enough that it's worth the focus for the turn. So I just kind of sit on it and just make sure that save it for later. From here, we start actually just moving the Caine's unit after kind of contemplating after the flicker, just to kind of get into a better positioning for later on. So this is kind of where I start paying attention to see where my ranges are, see if I can get a random shot off with Watts, and then declare him kind of done. From here, we go ahead and move on to Ace for that random pot shot, like I was saying. It's really nice having that trick shot on the gun, especially against the Stalkers right now, just because even that power 10 can be kind of dangerous, especially if I get like a little spike on the dice, because a power 10 off of armor 13 is still only dice -3. It can still get quite a few boxes of damage in, which allows Caine to kind of hurt 2 guys, but I believe I missed there on the boost anyway because of the cover.
Yeah, Cankerworm is still pretty hard to hit at defense 14 with cover, so...
Yep. So from here, we go ahead and get that Cyclone up near my objective. Since I do have Observatory, it's going to allow the Cyclone to get True Sight for the turns that he's sitting there, which is going to be super beneficial for dealing with all of the stealth that's on the board. Just verifying how the tall grass works, making sure I can see over it. I think we're going to take a snipe shot with the Rifleman, try to see if I can randomly get a Raider that's standing there in the forest. I believe this ends up being a miss as well. Yeah, there's 4 on that. Repo just kind of backwards a little bit because he's pretty safe positioning due to the whole having snipe 18-inch range, etc. Other Rifleman who moves up into the grave. Arlon moves up. Most of this turn starts to end up proceeding rather quickly here at the end. Once I kind of realize what my plan is to stay back, we kind of just start shifting everybody forward, staying out of ranges, kind of making sure that I'm not just going to randomly get charged and lose a heavy. Again, trying to see if I can see any angles. Maybe a hunter can randomly kind of get where I want it to get, but I think we're starting to have a conversation here where I'm kind of, let's stay back. Which I remember you were quite thrilled about.
Yeah, I remember thinking when you flickered your army back 2 inches that I was like, oh, I really thought I was going to lose like a Stalker here, or I really thought you were going to throw some models forward and we would start trading pieces, but that didn't happen, and I think that made me really... I think I was a little afraid of your heavies now, much more so than I was before, because they've moved up the table now. Whereas your lights just kind of bounce backwards, just barely.
Yeah, the lights are going to be able to get wherever they want to. It's the heavies that got to get prepped, but once they're there.
Yeah, so now your heavies are prepped, and Skarre is just casually has 12 focus, and
Perfectly fine. Great.
with nothing to do with it, unfortunately, because you gave me no options to damage any of your models. I think the only option I had for even trying to damage a model was Carabitus could have maybe thrown a spray forward, but or Asphyxius could have like moved all the way forward and hellfired something, but that didn't seem very useful. So now my exact thought process was, okay, well, if I can't do anything here, I gotta just, and you didn't get a lot of shots off here. I need to probably. I think that gave me a little bit of confidence that I could potentially soak another round and not lose too many pieces. So I'm thinking scenario, and I want to put my models in the safest possible locations I can get them. And I think I move Hermit over to start camping that flag, putting him in a good spot to, negate an attack if necessary. And now I'm just trying to. Well, I don't know why I'm pointing at your. I think I'm just upset that the threat's a very long ways.
That came up repeatedly. It felt nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the joy in having big shooty guns. That you want people to admire your big shooty guns.
Listen, if they're gonna give me guns, I'm gonna use them.
Yeah. So I think I'm just trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. Yeah, I'm figuring out exactly what I want to do with Carabitus. I realized that with that scenario plan in mind. I want to tow a zone, so I'm, just throwing a model there. He's going to threaten the whole circular zone. Irreparable game state once again.
Yeah. Can't figure out where to land that little circle.
And, just moving Stalker a little more forward. I'm trying to make it a little tastier for you, make you commit some models, I think was my logic. Because I just want to get my models in there, because the sooner I can force a handful of models in, the sooner I can defeat, and then hopefully I trade back. It trades back favorable for me, and Caine 3 can get its damage numbers up pretty high, but arm plus 5 arm is still something, not something to scoff at.
Absolutely.
So, I think I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to position my top side of the board. I know there's a I think I'm trying to get that second Stalker, the one that's kind of hiding behind Asphyxius here, up a little more forward, and there wasn't really another safe spot, so I moved the Stalker that was in the pit. That's what I just wanted to move Asphyxius up and put him in a really safe spot, and I kind of threw that Stalker on the top side away, but it was pretty far away from a lot of your threats. It was only really in the range of the heavy. And is that Ace way up there, I believe?
Yeah, I think it was Ace and the Cyclone that were still kind of like threatening that side of the board. I think Ace could have gotten him, but the Cyclone would have had to move a little bit, I believe.
Oh, I see. That would make sense.
But I think your whole point was to still have it there to retaliate as needed, because we were pretty sure Ace wasn't gonna cut it there. Exactly. And then you still had Cankerworm there and the other Stalker prepped for even if that one went down. So you're kind of covering yourself left or right, whichever I decided not to go for.
Yeah, and I believe Asphyxius, did he drop a cloud? Yeah, he moved forward, and I think he
did not drop a cloud on this turn, no.
He dropped a cloud last turn.
It was last turn, yeah, because he created that nice little line. And this is where you rolled that 6 again randomly for Skarre for some reason.
Yeah, Dr. Sidious is pulling his weight. He rolled another ritual sacrifice, and Skarre's going to sit happily at another +6 focus, which...
Yep, and I rolled my eyes at you.
I mean...
You took away my assassination.
Yeah. I mean, were you even... I don't even know if you're... Are you even in range of an assassination attempt here?
Listen, I'm Cygnar. I'm always in range.
That's fair. Big guns, gotta flaunt them.
Big guns, gonna flaunt.
Yeah, and I think I'm just thinking at this point that I want to move my... I think I'm getting ready to throw away the majority of my Statixis models. Because I just want them to start getting ready to score that zone, and they're not exactly super important pieces. They're nice in the aspect of they give my Warjack's gang with my theme, Scorch of the Broken Coast, and but other than that, they're kind of just to get in the way and be annoying to kill, and so I think I think my goal here is just they're just running and.
Yeah, they're just trying to getting. If I remember, they're just getting into position to be ready for future points in time. Because
Exactly.
like you're saying, like gang is nice, but we're both pretty low armor, so the gang is not as required
Yeah, I
in this
mean,
particular matchup.
I think
It's a very heavy position war.
exactly. So they're just kind of, they're honestly, I think I was using them more as bait than anything, and hopefully you commit some models to it because I have a
Yep.
stalker and a heavy ready to have some fun there. So I believe then.
Yeah, that was where we were worried about if Iacos was going to randomly be within Caine's range or something like that to just get
Oh
knocked
yeah,
off the board.
yeah. And this is so now I'm moving Scar up as it's close to that wall to still get the cover bonus, but as far away from you as physically possible.
Yeah. This is to the point where I was started talking about the assassination stuff because of I think at that point you are in range of actually quite a few things.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that with the use of flicker, um, the heavies and the hunters and Ace and all that, like not Ace, Caine's unit and everything, it does get close. But sitting on 12 focus, I'm not going to do anything.
I think I actually had. We both knew it was 12 focus, but I think I have like 15 focus on
Oh yeah,
Scar
I
right
think you
now.
counted it's like 15 or 16 focus just sitting on her randomly, and you
Yeah.
figured it out later in the turn. You start counting it out.
I mean, it wasn't. It was never relevant, but it was amusing
Sure.
to look at.
Yeah. So right there, I just made sure to identify that the true sight went on the cyclone. From here, I had a heavy contemplation about the feat. We were kind of looking at stuff, but again, this game was very heavily position war. It was who's going to have the best position, who's going to have the right spots, who's going to be in the right place, and whoever made it to that wrong place first was going to get punished. So we were going very heavy on the positioning here, there, everywhere. And so right now I'm in the contemplation state of, am I going to feat here? But the realistic answer, I believe, is when we kind of boiled it all down, is that I don't have enough targets to maximize the feat that I have. Because then to maximize it, I think I start getting in your threat ranges, and then that puts like Ryan and Watts in the Hellslinger unit in danger that it's not worth losing out on them so quickly. I think from here we're talking about how I would have to like flicker to get stuff out of the way, but I'd rather use that in a sense to get people back away instead of forward again, specifically for the unit, because all the jacks would move forward. But it definitely took a few minutes of my clock to try to figure out if I'm actually going to feat this turn. And it overall boiled down to, I believe, on this turn that it's just not worth what is on the board currently. If I believe that was this turn, because I think it wasn't until later that I
No,
actually utilized
that
the
was
feat.
that was this turn. Yeah, we were chatting about how many the volume of attacks you could get into models, and how if that was going to be worth your feat. And I honestly, I mean, it's not my list. I don't know. It was definitely a close decision.
Yeah, it was a very it boiled it. I think it boiled down to the fact that the realistic answer of how some of my um, answers to stealth would not quite give me enough, especially with you sitting behind that obstruction over there. And then on the low side of the board, from what's pictured, I don't have any way to kind of get to Carabitus. I don't have a way to deal with that stealth stalker at the moment unless I give you a Minuteman early on. Um, so
Well, I think the discussion was that if you were to feat, you would have to commit everything in your army, and you don't. And I think the conversation was that you don't think that you would be able to take out as much as you would like with the amount of models you would have to commit.
yeah, and then the retaliation of your feat into everything that I gave you would be, I feel, at the end of the day, pretty catastrophic to the list. Like, I don't think you'd get into my heavies, but you'd definitely probably kill every Minuteman that I gave you. dependent on how ranges and stuff worked. I mean, the cyclone down the bottom there was probably in danger. If it would get more committed, or like I gave you the rifle or the Minuteman there. But yeah, I ate up quite a bit of clock here. At this point in just the what am I gonna do? Because again, if I lose out on that position dance that we had going on, it was going to turn bad fast. So I think at this point I'm starting to get it to that. Hey, Ace is still in range. He's an easy thing to do. And then we start making some random attacks on. I'm pretty sure I was going after the Stalker because Cankerworm was just annoying me behind that cover.
Yeah, and I believe immediately.
I think this is where you did Hermit.
Yeah, I believe I immediately was just like, let's soak with Hermit. You know, it isn't getting better than this. We'll soak the Caine attack, and then you trick shot. That's right.
Yeah, the trick shot was. I think we were trying to decide where it was going to go,
and I think it was just out of range of that Grim Stalker that was on Asphyxious.
Yeah, so I think we ended up going with the Servitor.
Yeah, I believe just popped a Servitor because
just to get it out of there.
Because the POW 10 on Cankerworm's Arm 16 wasn't...
It wasn't going to be worth it. Yeah, the POW 10 against any of the Stalkers was fine, but I'm not going to go against an Armor 16 to just get dice -6 and average out 1 damage. Like, it's not...
Mm-hmm. But you popped the Servitor there, and I'm not sure what you're rolling here exactly for, but...
I think this... Was this the Cyclone?
That might have been the Cyclone.
Oh, that was how many shots it would have had. Yeah. And then, that was the hit roll, and I was like, why couldn't I get that on damage?
Yeah, I do remember that.
And so I think I got a couple worms in a Cankerworm. I think overall he was fine still, because again, he was defense...
Yeah, he was defense 18 to shooting, and he's arm 16 base. He's got some good boxes too. I think he still took 6 to 10 damage, but...
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything catastrophic. Like, he was still going to be fine. He's still going to contribute to the game no matter what. But I figured at least this turn I could try to start getting few points of damage in here, a few points of damage in there, so that way on a feat turn that I already have that little bit of damage committed into the game.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think now you're deciding what to do with the heavy, and that was how many shots you're getting.
That was how many shots I was going to get, and I'm pretty sure we took a few shots. I think I dedicated that whole heavy turn just to getting her going, because again, I'm just trying to get the damage where I can while not forfeiting my position.
Yeah, because I think you were just towing with that Stalker there.
Yeah, because I think because this is. Second player, second. Yeah, so right now I'm just kind of doing just enough to kind of make sure that I don't just give you the scenario at this point, but I don't want to give you all the stuff.
You're really prepping, knowing that next turn is going to be feat turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Here goes Caine moving around. The flicker occurred again. So we're getting flicker into position for everybody. Getting that. Did I go forward or backwards? I just backed up for an inch with the Cyclone because, again, I don't want to lose my Cyclone. I think I was okay if I lost the Minuteman, but I didn't want to give my Cyclone away because realistically, I think it's the potential of 6 shots versus the always going to happen 2 from the Minuteman was a much higher potential.
And I believe my Stalker was just within 13 there to jump on that heavy. Yeah. So you have to move it back to not give that
even.
Stalker.
Yeah.
Because that Stalker with under Skarpe would definitely have chewed through that heavy if you give him the opportunity to.
Yeah. I think you're
trying to commit to take a Stalker off the table or to deal as much as you can with your Minuteman.
Yeah, and I also think I'm trying to I think this Minuteman was specifically just kind of like, I know it's gonna die, but I need to try to keep you behind that wall in some way, shape, or form so that you don't just come out and dedicate that whole side of the board out into me. At least that way it kind of holds you there, and then that way on my retaliating feat turn, I have more guns to kind of pop up there.
And I'm pretty sure you ended up wiping the cortex on that stalker with that attack.
Yes, it was the cortex that was dropped off of that.
So he was not happy. He was not getting power up, but
Now, Minuteman's not happy. He knows he's going to die.
yeah, he's definitely going to die.
Yeah.
You're checking threats on that stalker.
Yeah, and checking threats there, making sure that I'm not just handing you random Minutemen or hunters at this point.
And you were good about it. I mean, you gave me almost nothing. I think the only things that I was drooling over here was the Minutemen on the top end that you kind of were putting as a roadblock for me, and there was that Minutemen on the bottom that you towed the zone with, and I just thought if I'm going to take something.
Yeah, I figure if I only gave you the 2 Minutemen, I would have enough for the retaliation. Oh, this is where I know I remembered that my gun mage adepts have the veteran leader for each other being within 7, which actually made that roll hit.
Yeah, it was exactly what you needed to hit.
And that gave me the flair for the hunter to go ahead and get that random pot shot up there.
But I believe the hunter missed the shot, right?
I think he did, because I think I was being cheeky, and I needed a 6, and I rolled a 4. I do that to myself all the time. I'm like, yeah, no, it's fine. I just need a 6. It's great. It's going to be fine. And I don't boost it when I know that I'd rather just boost it anyway.
I think I tend to do that as well. So I don't think it's cheeky. It's math.
It's math. Math works.
It's a dice game, though. So.
Exactly. And then here we go again. I think a couple other random pot shots that I was taking from range 14. Oh, this was from the rifleman.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what I was going. It might have gone. I think I was going after that stalker in the back because again, it's dice off of 3. But you're
choosing column there.
Yeah, I got to choose the column, and then I repoed myself onto the objective there, or the flag, so that I would make sure to score that, because I knew you would be scoring with Hermit up there, so I needed to try to stay in contention with that. And then again, just moving the squire, getting everybody into place, and then we passed it back over to you.
So you gave me a pretty easy turn here in terms of decision making. You pretty much gave me no models except for 2 to go after. And at this point in the game, with us starting to score scenario, I think we're both at 1 point right here. We've scored our flag and everything else is contested or not scored. I realized that I needed to kill 2 Minutemen and pass back to you and position stuff favorably for scenario again. So I believe I'm just discussing exactly where I need to allocate the 12 focus that Skarre got this turn.
It's a hard choice. Choice to find out where your plethora of focus is going to go.
I think I ended up just loading up on the stalker that I knew was going to go on that Minuteman on the bottom of the screen. And there's the Gatsby servitor coming back.
Yeah.
Yep, and I load up on that servitor down there, and I'm deciding how I want to allocate to deal with that top Minuteman, because the stalker that I would have used to kill it has no cortex, so I couldn't allocate to him.
You're welcome.
So I realized I had to go in with Cankerworm, which it's always fun. Oop, the Repro Games Day again.
You did that like 12 times. It's crazy.
But I think I ended up just realizing that there wasn't a lot of other things I could do on the top there, so the Stalker and the Cankerworm were just going to go in and wipe that Minuteman.
Yes.
And I think that was everything. I think Skarre was getting ready to do her thing. I don't know what else I'm measuring, because there's nothing else really to do. Oh, Gatsby's allocating to his stalker, to the Cankerworm there. That's what he was doing. Because I had allocated off Skarre, and now I was allocating off my journeymans here.
Because you needed more focus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then this is. I think we were talking because it was pretty early on that Skarre's starting to activate.
Yeah, so Skarre casts Dark Guidance, which gives all friendly faction models in her control additional die and melee attack rolls, which is exceptionally well with those stalkers that are attached to her because they have extended control. So 3 dice on melee at 24 inches is pretty nice.
That's it? Just 24 inches? That's
only 24 inches, yeah. And
that's fine.
She goes and I think she moved a little up the board just to give some space for something else to fit behind that wall there. And she's feeding. So I think she takes 10 damage this turn.
I believe it was 10. No. It was 9.
It was 9.
Because it was 9 damage because then we measured to see if your Healy dude was in range.
And he was just barely.
He was like barely in range, and then we made a lot of jokes about how it was expertly, professionally played, and it was super accidental.
Yeah, so he just barely gets base to base there. I think I had like a quarter of an inch extra space to spare. And he's going to heal Skarre up after feet. And Skarre's camp. I'm not super worried about Skarre, but because she's camping still. She's still camping like 6 or 7 focus. And I just want to make sure like we don't get a crazy spike damage roll, which is very possible from your list.
Always.
And yeah, so now we're starting with what I'm doing this turn, and we move that stalker up. He, I think, gets a charge, which is something that I don't get to do with stalkers very often because they want to jump. But it was a very linear target, and I took the opportunity for both an extra die and damage. I believe I hit with Dark Guidance. I think it's they're mat 7, and they need to hit your defense 14 lights, right?
Yeah.
So
it's not a lot. It's not anything to scoff at.
Mm-hmm. And I
think that first damage roll was terrible, and I was like, let's keep doing that.
Yeah, I rolled a 5, but with POW 17's under feet, it's still at dice +2. Yeah, so I think it was still 7. It was still 7 damage on the charge.
It was still 7 damage on the charge. It was fine, but I mean, regardless, we knew that because I think it was on. You had to use up the last focus, but you still were able to pretty handily deal with that Minuteman.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he spent all of his focus buying some extra attacks, but he chewed through that model with some damage to spare, because I think he left it on like a couple boxes with one of the attacks. So.
Yeah.
And now I'm contemplating order of operations here for this model. I think I go up with a servitor to guarantee gang for my lights that are going to go in on this model. So I activate Gaspy first. I think does Gaspy throw it in a cloud here now? I can't actually remember what I do at Gaspy here. I know he was sitting pretty happily at 4 focus.
I believe, yes, because he puts it next to the that upward forest to create that much more of a line. I mean, even though because he moved out of the trench to kind of prep himself for the following turn.
Yeah, and I think his logic was he wanted to try to think about charging that objective or charging heavy, because he was ready to do something more than just throw a cloud. Yeah, so he prepped himself.
You put the cloud down to kind of protect him from the rest of the army, but we understood that the True Sight from Ace and the Cyclone were still a danger. But I think you were still sitting on, one or 2 focus?
I was still
with the +5 armor.
Yeah, he was still feeded.
He was pretty fine.
Yeah, he's got a lot of boxes. I wasn't too super worried about him, but I just wanted to make sure he was in the best position to not just get randomly taken off the table, because Caine 3 feet is not a joke. But yeah,
it's okay. It's fine.
it's a lot of accuracy and damage buff.
Yes.
So yeah, and I think this is where I'm activating Cankerworm for that.
Yes.
Minuteman. Yep, and that was the hit, I believe.
Yeah, that was the hit roll, and then here comes the damage.
And this is on
the Canker. Yeah, just explodifies.
Yeah, because I used the armor-piercing star attack, which, with Gang and Dark Shroud and Feet all included, I think gets up to like a POW 20 armor piercing, so it's like dice plus 12 ridiculous. Or something. It's very high.
Yeah.
I think he has to buy 1 attack with his POW 13. Ends up taking out POW 22 afterwards, but. Just kind of 1 round to that, very, very haphazardly, and then he's going to repo 5 to get back behind that obstruction as best as possible, make it hard as possible for you to shoot him. I'm activating some models. All these models are feeded. I'm hoping that they're durable enough that it's annoying for you to kill them.
Yeah, that +5 on the armor is definitely a thing.
Yeah, it ends up making them with half the boxes, but kind of more heavy Jack stat line. I mean, defense 15,
Sure.
arm
Yeah.
18.
It made some like what armor? It was armor 18, I think it was.
Yeah, so they're 13
Yeah.
base, so plus 5 to 18. And then they're sitting behind obstruction. Like, almost all of them are obscured in some way from you. And yeah, I think Carabitas is just thinking the same thing. He's moving up, kind of putting a model between himself and
Yeah. I think
Skarre.
end of this turn was a lot of just reposition yourself into places, kind of preparatory. And I think you even specifically were wording it out that you're getting yourself into that scenario play versus trying to just straight come at me.
Yep, and then I move Xaria up to sit on that flag there, and I move the unit of Statixis to score that zone. I believe I go up a couple of points in scenario there.
Yeah, I believe so. I went up on one on the flag. You went up one on
both flags and then the zone.
Both flags and the zone.
It was 2-4 after that.
Yes. So here, I definitely know that it's a feat turn. I have quite a bit. Again, targeting out Observatory for that true sight on the Cyclone. We start going through the whole count of how much focus do I have with Caine. I think this turn, this turn I made sure, because I knew I was going to feat, I needed everybody to see stuff. So I knew this was going to be a turn that I needed to get Mage Sight down. So great spell for dealing with all the stealth and stuff, and it was way more applicable than Calamity is for him for Caine this game here. And I believe it was Carabitas and those 3 stalkers that end up getting that Mage Sight put down on them, and they fit just perfectly within that Mage Sight range.
I believe we get a nice 5-inch template in a second.
So we grab the template and we measure it, but there's so much stuff already just kind of right there, and we didn't want to muck up the board too much at the moment, so we just kind of declared it. We know this is where it is. If it becomes relevant to the point that it needs to get put down again, we know where it belongs.
Yeah.
So we'll get there until a point.
Because I clipped every single one of those models, which was awesome.
It was perfect. It was perfect for me. Here again, I'm going into the kind of where the ranges are. Where's this? Where's that? I forget completely if I flickered first with this, because I know Caine has to, on feat turn, Caine has to go first. It's a done deal no matter what. Yeah, so there's the template for getting that Mage Sight down, just to make sure that we're in. I did my own irreparable game state right there. I had to try to even it out throughout the game.
Yeah, of course.
So again, we're going through the whole thing, the whole conversation of it's fine, we're having that conversation. Focus got allocated out. We start the feat turn. 2 for the Mage Sight. Here comes Calamity. Not Calamity. Flicker.
Mm-hmm.
All the lights start to move up because, again, we're dedicating ourselves in this turn. We are getting into the fight as much as we've been in the fight this game up to this point. I think I barely kind of move everybody on the top end too much, just because they're kind of already set in their place. Flicker being able to position my models while still allowing them to aim is kind of a surprise buff to their accuracy that I have never originally looked at before until actually playing Caine, so it's really nice.
Yeah, I think it's especially good in this matchup where so many of my models are high defense models that the rat bonus is really, really good.
Yeah. So I ended up moving Ryan up there at the top just because from what she was looking at and what was in her range, I was not confident that she was going to be able to hit like a Stalker or Cankerworm. So I moved her up because you gave me a nice juicy target in that servitor for the first point in the feat. I believe I took a random pot shot at somebody just because she could. I think it was actually that Stalker behind the wall.
I believe so, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I missed because we still clipped the wall. So here goes Watts. Again, I can see the heavy Carabitas So we take a shot at him because he's super easy to hit, and then we go for that brutal shot, trying to get a couple points of damage in. But I believe because of your armor with the feet, it just doesn't. It just bounces off.
Yeah, armor of 23 is pretty high. I mean, it's no crazy Carchip 2 levels, but there's some appeal to that.
Yep. And so it took both of my shots with Caine to go after that stalker. So it definitely made me sweat for a second because I thought I was going to miss out on that third bonus, especially since I basically spent down my focus from Caine that turn. This is where all the fun starts to occur of jumpy light jacks. We kind of made sure, there's my other irreparable game state, messing with your lights. Trying to make sure that I can get the flak field on the two of them, which they were positioned nicely for me to get that for that extra little bit of damage, while still allowing the slug guns to pop in there. Because on a 8-point jack, having PAL 17 guns, 2 of them in fact, seems nice.
It's very good.
So here we start kind of just dumping all the focus into trying to get rid of these lights here. I believe this Minuteman was able to easily get rid of one of the stalkers.
Believe so as well, because he's really just rolling dice off one, and he's throwing a lot of damage at them. So yeah, there it is.
Yeah, he was able to just get him out. Then let's see. Yeah, here comes the other Minuteman. So I put him kind of out of position at first, and then we start talking about it again. I'm like, oh wait, I can flak field this one too. And so I make sure to pull him back a little bit and get him into position to be able to flak field. Because again, it's a power 12 flak field in base to base, and against your heavies, I think so it's only a dice -6, but even that one did 5 points of damage. So I was able to crank the rollout for that one, and then that guy was able to do that, and I think I was able to do that with one other slug gun.
I think you took a shot at that Grimstalker there.
Yeah, so I was able to hit that guy and get a couple more points of damage into him. Again, we kind of buffed the damage up a little bit on those couple of rolls. But I definitely needed it because I was in the sense of I need to make sure to try to get as many things dead this turn. Because if I didn't, then the retaliation is going to be rough. Here, my Gun Mage Adept Captain was able to take a shot up at the other Stalker. Again, the whole plussing for aiming and allowing for the Veteran Leader for Gun Mages was a huge benefit for me. And then going ahead and getting that Swift Hunter off after actually killing that other Stalker that was kind of sitting up there at the top there. We go here. I believe that was the center hunter that was taking the shot at the bottom stalker here that's near the tall grass.
Yeah, I think you were shooting into the Satixis there as well, all of which is not exactly the easiest target for you to hit.
They're not great targets for me. And the fact that... So my armor-piercing shots are nice, but when you start getting into armor math, armor-piercing starts to wane off a little bit.
Yeah, because their Stalkers are defense 13 halved. That puts them at... Is it rounded up or down? I can never remember.
It's rounded up, so they go to 7.
Mm-hmm. And then they get +5 from there.
Yeah, but even so, on my feet turn, an armor-piercing round is a power 9. But once you start getting in those pluses with some of that stuff, it really starts to mess with the armor-piercing math.
Yeah, because it was, I believe, still off 3 under Scarfeet.
It ended up still being off of 3 because they went to 7, plus the 5 went to 12, and so armor-piercing 9 is still dice off 3, which is not great. It's better than nothing, but it's that's kind of where we were. This is kind of where I started getting into... Falk just sent off some sprays, trying to get some random stuff. I missed both of them. The Hunter was getting in the zone, so that, again, I could try to play that scenario play a little bit. Just taking some random pot shots. Because I couldn't quite get that Stalker down.
Yeah, and I think you were trying to determine how you were going to commit for that stalker. I think you ended up. Yeah, I think you ended up.
Yeah, so then the heavy
up.
comes up here, toes into the zone, and then gets 3 shots right there, and then starts going into the starts going into the stalker there. We boosted the hit. I believe I ended up boosting the damage roll because I was like, this is gonna be the best shot that I'm gonna hit anyway. So we get that shot in there, and then
I think Stalker's on like 4 or 5 boxes at this point.
Yeah, it was pretty low. But then we started. So I ran a couple shots, got it off the table, took another shot into the last. I think it was 2 shots into the Raiders because I hit the first one and I think I missed the second one. Oh no, that was the last shot right there.
Yeah, I think you were asking me if that Raider had boxes, and I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it was. So it was the other one that's on the flag is the one that had the boxes.
Well, no, that one also. It was that one didn't have boxes, but the one with the spear in the back has boxes.
Yeah,
that's where I was getting confused.
Oh, the one that's kind of right in front of the forest there.
Yes.
Yeah. So we start positioning everybody. We start taking random pot shots again. I kind of finish up on my turns up here. We got to the top of the board. We start getting into the Cyclone and Ace, kind of taking out their shots. Pretty sure the Ace was first, going after Cankerworm.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of conversations going on. Trying for the hit, got it. Again, looking for that 6, got the 7. Boosting damage. Kind of a low roll.
And I think at some point over the couple minutes here too, I think it hit you on how low on clock you were.
Yeah, I started to rush quite a bit. Right here is definitely kind of we were talking was a mistake on the Cyclone play. The Cyclone was in range to be able to kind of advance and take its shots against the objective in the back there.
Mm-hmm.
But I started making them. Yeah, I started making them. I took them against that stalker to kill it. And then I believe I was just kind of taking just random shots at whatever else was in range, what I think was Cankerworm at this point, which I wasn't going to be doing a whole lot of damage to him.
So then, you turn back over, and I quickly evaluate the board, and I start counting scenario points, and I realize I think you're at 3, and I had scored that flag on the bottom zone.
You went up to 5.
Yeah, so I realized that I only need to score 1 additional point, or prevent you from scoring 1 additional point this round.
Yes.
And I think we both quickly realized that, unfortunately, this game is going to end sooner than later. So I think I take a long time deliberating and kind of regretfully having to end the game. Just by moving a stalker to contest that flag.
Yeah, we had gotten to the point that we figured a lot of the movements that I was kind of making mistakes on was the fact that the less of that the Minuteman wasn't in range, but the Cyclone could have moved closer.
Yeah, I think the Cyclone could have gotten to contest that flag on the bottom zone, which would have and that in coordination with the top Cyclone not killing the objective.
Not destroying the objective, yeah, because I think what we boiled it down to for the end of the game was if both of the Cyclones would have been dedicated just ever so slightly different, the game would have gone on for at least another turn, because then it would have at least forced you into rolling dice. Because I think just moving the Cyclone or your Stalker to right there, contesting that flag, ends the match. Yeah, so it ends the match there because it gets you to being 5 victory points above me.
Well, thank you both so much for coming on the channel and sharing your match with us. Exciting to have Cryx for the first time. And then Rick. So for those that don't know, the shop for the longest time played this like prank on me where I didn't know what Rick's name was. So every week it was a new name. So for the longest time, I thought his real name was Matt or Dan or like Dave at one point.
It was Bartholomew.
But it's Rick. It's Rick confirmed.
Yeah, no, Rick has been confirmed.
It's Rick.
Finally got there.
And Alec, I'm glad we got a chance to get you on the channel before you move back up north. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was great to play.
Yeah, so at this time, do you guys mind just sharing your post-game thoughts with everybody?
Yeah, sure. I think in terms of matchup, it was a very unique, interesting matchup. We had a bunch of lights on the table, a lot of jumping around potential. It was a game of movement, and it all came down to scenario play in the end. So
Yeah, it was a very interesting play on the game that I'm generally used to because again, it was like you said, it was very position heavy of who's going to be where with what to take the best position to then retaliate against the other. It definitely boiled down to scenario there at the end. Again, like I had a lack of play for myself in making sure that there was a proper allocation of like my cyclones there at the top and the bottom of the map there. But again, clock just got to me and it started rushing. I think what did I get down to like 2 minutes on my clock there in the last round?
I think you took a lot of time deliberating on whether or not to feat at bottom of 2, and I think that caught up with you in the end because
absolutely,
at the bottom
took a long time.
Yeah, because in the bottom of 3 you were sort of rushed to make decisions with some very important pieces towards the end of your turn, and namely those cyclones that had an opportunity to shoot an objective for a point and had an opportunity to contest a flag on the bottom zone. And I think that, with the amount of models you took off the table, because you did take a lot of my models off the table on your feat turn there. It would have been, I would have been able to, clap back there and take a few of your stuff off the table, but we would have been playing for a lot longer.
Yeah, I think if I was able to kind of make the game go on at least one more round, without necessarily losing still in that round, it could have been a different game.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Because it turns into, then I still have the Calamity plays and the ability to still take off like Carabitus off the board, even though he's a heavy. If I have a couple lights, I mean, even the Caine unit, because 2 of them can take boosted shots, and then with Calamity, it can kind of help out quite a bit. I still had both hunters, and kind of forcing you into fighting off the scenario play felt okay for me. But again, losing out on that time, starting to panic a little bit, and then making some suboptimal decisions in my scenario play there at the end of the game turned out to be pretty catastrophic.
Yeah, I mean, but it was great playing in general, and the board was beautiful, and
it was wonderful, wonderful game. Great game of mind play.
Yeah, we're playing tippy toes, waiting for the other person to strike for a minute there, and then
yep,
yeah, it ended up coming down to no one ended up really going in until it was too late. So it happens.
Yep. So, big question for both you gentlemen: are you excited for Mark IV?
I am excited. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I have my my own skepticisms about certain things. However, I'm very heavily on the line of I'm going to play the game, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to see how things are going, how things flesh out, and make opinions for real when that happens versus knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm fairly confident that whatever Mark IV ends up looking like, it's going to be a great game to play, and as long as I can still bring models that are interesting and fun to the table, I'm not really worried about the state of the game. And I'm excited to see what it looks like and see what competitive play looks like in the future.
Oh yeah, I'm safe. Cygnar models are coming first, so we're good.
Yeah, well, I have to wait a little bit, but we'll see.
That's all right. I'll let you know how it goes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. If you would like to check out some additional content, including the original video and audio of our battle reports to support the channel, please click our Patreon link in the video description below. If there are any factions, warcasters, or warlocks you would like to see on the channel, please let us know in the comments. And as always, see you on the next Tried and True Battle Report.